Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video on Tuesday the 16th of April. As we head towards Easter, it's looking a good story. Temperatures are lifting, it'll be dry for a few days ahead, but it could be a weekend of two halves where as we go through Easter Sunday into Monday, weather systems are moving in from the Atlantic, so some rain is likely to develop at some point, setting us up for something a bit more mixed generally for next week. We'll start off with a look at temperatures, and this chart is representative of 800 or 900 metres above sea level. It is a very faint background on the map of the British Isles. Hopefully you can just about see where we're going with things over the next few days. Generally then, temperatures lifting above freezing, well above freezing over the days towards Easter, rising into double figures even through Thursday into Friday on many of the higher areas. There'll be a touch of frost overnight in some of the valleys and the glens. Early mornings, the higher slopes will be warmer than it will be lower down, but that temperature will be more or less constant at around 9 or 10 degrees, lifting a touch maybe in some favoured western spots through into Good Friday. Always coolest on more eastern parts of the Highlands and the Pennines, just with the feed of air coming a bit more in off the North Sea. But overall, it's a warm few days in the valleys and the glens. Temperatures will be nudging towards or even above 20 degrees Celsius, so some pleasant springtime warmth, all fed by that air coming up from the south to southeast. This takes you onwards into Saturday. The values stay more or less the same, and even onwards into Sunday, most places hang on to that warm weather. Some cooler air, though, is just nudging in from the Atlantic towards western Scotland as fronts begin to approach, and that may just be a theme into the start of next week that those temperatures pull down a touch, but overall it still looks fairly mild, if not warm, for a few days. Looking at the synoptic charts, and high pressure is stationed still towards Scandinavia. It's an airflow from the southeast. The wind may still be rather gusty in places through Wednesday, not as strong as it has been in recent days. We've got a rather hazy atmosphere that will persist, so keeping things a little bit dull across the mountains. Plenty of sunshine coming through eventually, a bit of a cloudy start to Wednesday, but the visibility not that sparkling, and that will be a theme for a few days ahead, all a little bit weak in terms of colours across the landscape. A dry day, once any remnants of a front has just faded from northwest Scotland. It's a dry picture overall, small chance of an afternoon shower somewhere into the Peak District. That east or southeasterly wind is around on Thursday. Again, it's a gusty one around some of the ridges to the west or northwest of major tops around the Pennines and into parts of the Highlands too. You could be a little bit gusty through some of the passes and cols to lower slopes, but still not as strong as it has been earlier this week. And it's dry and extensively cloud-free across all the mountains. Similar into Friday, the wind tending to drop, I suspect, as the day goes on. Still a little bit gusty in places. Temperatures will be lifting, and it's dry overall, with sunshine pretty widely, but again, just rather hazy. Lighter winds for most places on Saturday as high pressure just opens itself out a bit more across the British Isles. We lose that direct southeasterly flow, so wind a bit more variable. Chance of a touch of frost first thing in the morning. Some uncertainty just how soon any fronts are starting to encroach into the northwest. It looks as though Saturday is a dry day and again a warm day for most places. Maybe just a bit more high-level cloud coming into Scotland, and a small chance that by the end of the day that cloud could thicken enough to give some patchy rain just to the far northwest. Now by Sunday, indications favour a front that's just running into high pressure from the northwest, so not a very active front, but one that could produce some low cloud and some outbreaks of rain coming into the Highlands. The timing and the detail of this is uncertain, but it's that message of something changing, at least into west and northwestern Scotland. More likely, the further south and east you go across Scotland and into England and Wales particularly, that you'll stay dry and warm with a good amount of sunshine overall. The winds just ahead of that front could be strengthening. Watch the details then at this stage. So what we've got as we go through Easter Sunday and beyond is what's left of high pressure from previous times, still across central and southern Britain. The big high that's been across Scandinavia has weakened by this stage, and we're just allowing a strengthening jet stream to come in off the North Atlantic. Low pressure developing around the south of Greenland, and that's starting to move in. We've got a trough of low pressure also around southern Spain, which is just a little complication in terms of how the whole pattern moves around. What is likely to happen, though, as we go onwards into the start of next week is that across Western Europe as a whole, we see a trough of low pressure forming. The main low that's out over the North Atlantic moves in a bit more strongly. Fronts that are a bit more active start to move in. Some heavier rain is possible, and it all sets it up for a more mixed regime for next week, with rain or showers as bits of fronts move around slowly. So a complicated one for detail. Some places may get away not too bad. Temperatures still, for England and Wales at least, on the mild or warm side, maybe a bit cooler comparatively into Scotland. The whole pattern moving around quite slowly over a good few days, so it's going to be one that we're just stuck with, a more mixed pattern with some rain at times into that week ahead, before indications as we head towards the final stages of April do start to favour high pressure from the Azores, just starting to build its way back in, suppressing that low, pushing it away, and bringing something drier again as we head towards the later stages of the month. It may be that something of a westerly hangs on to something a bit more mixed across Scotland, but the trends are trying to become drier again. So some changes developing as we go into the start of next week. In the first part of the Easter period, though, it's a good story of warm sunshine. Be aware of that strong April sun and sunburn, and also be aware that with the grass and the ground being very dry, the risk of upland fires is present over these next few days. We'll update the video then for you on Thursday this week, just to give a more fuller outlook for the Easter weekend. Check that one out with us here at the Mountain Weather Information Service. Thanks for watching today. Bye for now.